Howdy, welcome back to Single Black Man from Des Moines. My name is Al Simon Jr. A little about me: I was a dog handler in the service. I've worked in retail, healthcare, and libraries. I've taught Hapkido for over 20 years. I am currently single and retired from marriage. Now I'm a fledgling writer. From time to time, I read some of my pieces, both fiction and nonfiction. Time permitting, I'll tell a joke that I've heard from the past. I like to keep these under 15 to 20 minutes. I'll post stuff every week, so please like, share, and subscribe, especially on YouTube. If you'd like to purchase my works, I have some things over at Smashwords, or you can email me at singleblackman from Des Moines, and that's SBM from Des Moines, DESMOINES @duck.com. And I'll send you a complete list and prices of all my works. If you order from me, it'll be a little bit cheaper. However, I only go through PayPal. If you need more payment flexibilities, then by all means go through Smashwords. Let me tell you a story. Today's going to be fiction, and this is called Lusty Sketches. Lusty Sketches. I've been thinking about a solo for you, Winston Fletcher said to Darren Wallace. The song is called Elijah Rock. You won't necessarily be the only one singing, but seeing how you're my only bass, you're going to be highlighted. Darren Wallace, a 15-year-old Washington Irving Junior High student, sat up in his chair. He'd been in choir for about 3 months. Fletcher had fetched him out of a government class and told him that he'd be joining the choir. Darren liked Fletcher. In fact, Fletcher was among the most popular teachers at the school. Being in choir with a majority of girls was fine with him until now. Are you sure? Darren had no illusions about his voice. He had heard himself on tape several times, and not once did he find his voice melodic. Here's the sheet music. Come up to the front to the piano. Fletcher turned and walked off, cutting off further debate. Not in love with life right now, Darren sulkily rose to his feet. In so doing, the seat and desk all in one, and his motion tipped the desk down and forward that sent all his papers and notebooks flying, some sliding down the aisle. Some of these contents were not music. Among his books and papers were comics, sheet music for choir, and drawings he had made. As luck would have it, one of these drawings landed at the feet of the one person he least wanted her to see. Coke, short for coquette, Osborne was an alto. Although Coke and Darren knew each other since grade school, they didn't run in the same circles and seldom had contact with each other. The transition from grade school to junior high brought on puberty, and Coke had blossomed into a nubile young girl. She lacked no admirers and was considered fast. Darren was a virgin, shy, and stayed pretty much to himself. However, he was aware of Coke's curves, and they drove him to distraction. Most idle thoughts he had were of her. Her boldly undressing in front of him, her lying seductively on his bed, brazenly and unabashedly showing her sex to him. He had a penchant for drawing since grade school. At that time, they were mainly comic book characters such as Batman and Spider-Man. As he grew older, he penned sketches of Coke and poses he saw in Playboy. Such were the pictures at Coke's feet. "Mr. Fletch!" she exclaimed as she picked one and another up, her face etched in horror. Aghast, Darren didn't have to look up to know what she was seeing. He was still scrambling to assemble all the papers and books from the aisle. Fletch had knelt down and was also picking up drawings from the floor. He rose, extended a hand to Coke, and said, "I'll take those." With some hesitancy, she slowly handed over what she was holding. She then turned a baleful glance at Darren. His ears felt hot with embarrassment. He felt sweat trickling down his back, dampening his shirt. "Please don't tell my mom. Please don't tell my mom." As he gathered his stuff, he expected to see Fletch at his desk writing a pass for Darren to go to the vice principal's office. Instead, he was seated at the piano at the front of the class. "Darren?" he said in a tone implying he was waiting. Once Darren slid on the bench beside him, he said, "I'm going to hang on to your pictures for a while. Now, Elijah Rock." He was in earth science when Mrs. Waldron got the call from him to go to the office. With each step, he felt he was on his way to a firing squad. He had no defense. There was nothing he could say. His head was bent in resignation as he walked into Mr. Gillespie's, the vice principal's office. He took a little comfort not seeing his mother or Coke's parents in the room. As he thought about it, he was more afraid of seeing Coke. Larry Gillespie's head was down, peering at some papers when Darren walked in. "Have a seat, Darren," he said without looking up. As he waited, while Gillespie pored over the papers on his desk, Darren thought, I now know what it's like to be on death row." After a bit, Gillespie looked up and asked, "What do you think of your artwork, Darren?" The trickle of sweat going down his back became a torrent. All he could muster up was, "Sir? Your drawings. What do you think of them?" Darren didn't know where the vice principal was going. "I'm just fooling around, trying to pass the time." Guilty people hates a pause, so he added, "I didn't mean nothing, I'm sorry." Gillespie looked up and met Darren's eyes. "Have you had any training?" This was not going where he thought. "Sir? Any art classes?" "No." "Again, I ask, what do you think of your artwork?" Darren cleared his throat. He felt a knot in his gut. "It's okay, I guess." "It's more than okay. You can bring your estimation up." "Pardon?" "Darren, did you know that I sponsor the school paper, The Sketchbook?" "No, sir." "We can use an artist, and I see that you have a flair for satire." "Wait." Darren was still digesting what was happening. "You like my drawings? All of them?" "Of course. What's not to like? Do you have more of them?" He handed back a folder that contained Darren's sketches. Darren quickly shuffled through them. "Of course, I may have to edit some things. I may assign a topic every now and then. Would you have a problem working on a school paper?" Darren saw that all the drawings of Coke had been excised. "No, sir. No problem at all." From junior high, he took commercial art classes at Tech High. Still pursuing art, he went on to Iowa State University and upon graduation bounced from several jobs from insurance to finally working at an advertising agency. It was by sheer coincidence that he bumped into Vera Stubbs. Vera was a cousin of Coke, and before Darren got distracted by Coke, he had had a crush on Vera. He was shopping at Doll's food store and had seen her in the aisles pushing a cart. He half hoped she was single, but she had a ring on her finger and showed him pictures of her children. To make conversation, he asked about Coke. "Did you hear?" "No, about what?" "You remember the music teacher, Fletcher Winston?" "Yeah." "He got her pregnant. She had a little boy and he got fired." And that concludes Lusty Sketches. And let me tell you a story. A lady walks up and she sees a homeless man on the curb with a cup that he was shaking back and forth for donations. As she knelt down and put some money in his cup, she says, "As bad as things could be, it could be much worse. You could be blind." To which the man replied, "Yeah, it was much worse. When I was blind, they kept giving me slugs." Okay, that's it for today. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to purchase my works, I have some things at Smashwords, or email me at singleblackman, that's SBM, from Des Moines, at duck.com, and I'll send you a complete list and prices of my works. If you don't like to read but want to support my work, please contribute at buymeacoffee.com/AlSimon4722. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get Al out of the ghetto. And I'm going to close with this. You load 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.